Do you think monogamy is the only right way for a healthy relationship?
Obviously not. It really depends on what you're looking for. If you're going to be exclusive and monogamous with one person, say you're Christian or you're Muslim or you're Jewish and you believe in a man and a woman being married for their whole lives, even though, what, 50, 60% of them end in divorce. And then you look at the process of getting a divorce, how unpleasant that is. Like me personally, I I have no interest in participating in that model just because I went through it once and it's very unpleasant. And the less you involve the government in your business, the better and the more pleasant your life will be. And so, whatever way makes you happy, if you want the traditional marriage and you want to involve the government, hey, that's on you. Personally, I think it's best to do like a civil type of union if that's what you want. But as long as you're happy, that's all that matters. Because the bottom line is, it's like sand through the hourglass. It is running out fast, and nobody gets out alive. We're all living in bodies that are gonna die, even though we don't think about it. We don't like to think about it. We don't like to talk about it. And so, what are you cool going to your grave having never experienced in life? What's most important to you? What do you want to do? What life experience do you want? How do you want to live? Because everybody you love, everything you build, eventually all of it is going to turn to dust on a long enough timeline. And so you might as well find a way to enjoy it and live your life in a way that pleases you. And who cares what other people think? Because no matter what you do, people are going to complain. All you got to do is go to the comments. People are complaining that I haven't gotten married and stayed with one person forever. And it's like, well, that's me. That's my life path. It's, if you don't like that, that's okay. You can choose something different for you. I'm doing what makes me happy. And if the way you're living makes you happy, then do that. Obviously, if you're getting angry about how other people choose to live their lives, tells you probably don't believe in too much in the way you're living your life. And that's why you're attacking and lashing out in the first place. So, different strokes for different folks. Maybe you want to have multiple wives. I mean, legally, in most states in America, you can't do that. And so that'd be kind of like a civil type of thing if that's the kind of relationship you want to have with multiple wives. Again, these are things you can do and you can have agreements between all the parties of the relationship, whatever type of format that you take. But most people are going to get married and stay together long term, ideally, especially if you're going to have kids. You're doing it for the children. You want to make great humans together. You want to be able someday when you get older look back and say, man, I'm proud of my sons. I'm proud of my daughters. It's like, my kids are my greatest achievement. That's if you're gonna have kids and you're gonna co-parent with somebody, that should be the ideal. It should be having children that someday when they grow up and they become adults themselves, you're like, man, they killed it. They're doing better than me. They have better quality relationships. They have better groups of friends. They live in a nicer area. They do more fun things than we were able to do when they were growing up. It's like you want to be proud because in essence they're your legacy. They're what you leave behind. So if that's what you want, make sure it's with somebody that shares the same goals and values, however agreement or structure that looks to you.
So, in other words, you think monogamy isn't the only thing that you can have in order to have a healthy relationship. There's other ways that you can live that isn't
Well,
monogamous.
people are choosing open relationships, and then you got people that stay together 15, 20 years, raise their kids, and then they're like, the kids go off to college and they look around and it's like, why are we together? And then they decide to, if they're married, they get divorced, or if they're just living together, they move on and they have other relationships. And then sometimes they have, the men have families with other women and start all over. I mean, look at obviously our friend Dominic. He was married and had kids with his first wife, and now Ashley's his second wife, and now he's starting a family, or started a family with her. So it's whatever makes you happy. Different strokes for different folks.
What about in terms of like open relationships? Because I feel sometimes it's a hit or miss for some people.
Well, typically, if they're swingers or the open relationship people, they're really trying to monkey branch. So they're trying to hold on what they had or have, hoping they can find somebody better. Because typically, like we've talked about, the people in the swingers community, that especially when the one one person from one relationship leaves to go be with somebody else that's supposedly in a exclusive type of relationship other than the swinging, and then they go and start a relationship together, and then there's butthurt feelings. Oh, you broke my family up. You took my wife. You took my husband, and those things happen. A lot of people get married that should be married. I mean, just a small percentage of people that are in long term relationships. I mean, how many people do you know, friends, family members, that have a long term relationship where you're like, man, they've been together decades. They're both fit. They both look good. They really seem to be happy. They have a lot of fun together. They love being married. I mean, is that something that you see a huge abundance of in life, or is that something you see? It's like very few people have what you would go, man. I'd love to be in a relationship with somebody like that. I'd love to have that kind of relationship.
50-50.
50% of the people you know, you're envious of their relationship.
I'm not envious of anything. But I'm going to say 50, it's 50-50. That like either half of the people that I know that are married and have kids both love each other, take care of themselves, and then take care of their relationship because they put themselves first and their relationship is like super stable. Then there's like another 50% where either there's codependency issues or people aren't like taking care of themselves or they're straying from the relationship.
So 50% of the couples you know, you're like, oh, I would totally love to be in a relationship with somebody like that.
Yeah.
Really?
Yes.
That's pretty high.
My generation's different. It's our generation. Our generation's
50%
great.
of the people you know in long term relationships, that's just everybody, not just people your age. Everybody in
Yes.
general,
Yes.
old people, young people.
Yes.
You think half of them got something you're like, you admire.
Yes.
And you'd want to have that.
Yes. 50% of everybody who I know. Doesn't matter the age group.
We all thought Tom Brady and Giselle were happy.
No, I never said that.
Most people did. That was a public perception.
Yeah, that's what they wanted people to think.
I don't believe anything that's ever on social media.
Unless
Yeah,
I
the
hear
internet
it
can
from their-
fool you sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
What about you?
No,
What's
I
your
was
perception? Do you look around the people you know and say, I would totally love to be in a relationship with that person? I think they got a great marriage. I think I'd love to have what they have.
It's happened before, yes.
Do you think is it 50% like she says, or is a smaller percentage that you would consider happy?
Can you rephrase that question? Because I don't fully.
So it's like what percent? Because she says half the people she knows that are in long-term relationships just have amazing relationship, and she looks at them with envy and thinks that their relationship's the bomb, and she totally could see herself or would want to see herself with somebody like that.
It depends on the person, because if I know for sure in relationships, nobody's perfect. But I guess that's what makes up the beauty of the relationship. You learn and you grow with that person.
But the percentage of people overall that you know in your life, that friends, family, people you've worked with, whatever, what is your perception? Because keep in mind, the divorce rate's 50-60%. So obviously it's half the people that are getting married and divorced are making bad choices and are not happy.
So if I'm completely honest, I don't have any friends that are married. I have a good amount of friends that are engaged. I would say
just people that you know, people that you experience. This is not
that are
just
in relationships in
people-
general.
that are not or are in relationships.
grandparents,
Oh, that
uncles,
are. Okay.
next door neighbors,
Neighbors,
people
the
you're
family
close to.
friends.
The only people that I can think of that I would definitely be like, yeah, this is the relationship
There's
I
only
want,
one.
simply because of the fact that they are polar opposites, and I think the idea of being with someone who's a polar opposite would you learn from that person. Definitely my parents. My friends, I
So the
feel
totality of people that you know that you experience.
I would say my parents.
Well, like what percentage?
I would honestly say like 95%. I know that sounds like a big
95%
number.
of the people you know have great relationships that you think would be awesome and you love to be in that. Is that what you're saying?
No. Sorry, I misunderstood.
So in other words, what percentage of people do you know that you've worked with that are in your peer group? They could be your neighbors, aunts, uncles, friends, people you grew up with. When you look at their long-term relationship, you go, they knocked it out of the park. I admire them so much. I look up to them. I wish I could have what they had. How many of them have the kind of relationship that you think are great? She says 50% of the people she knows.
Mine's at 10.
10%?
Yeah, honestly, I hate to say it, but I have very few friends that have good relationships. But even then, I would say 20%. I know that
20%?
sounds like a really
Yeah.
bad number, because the
Mine
thing is,
was 10, 20.
I have friends that I've known for so long, and I know their tea, and I know everything, and I care about them so much to say that I think they could do better. I would say 20, but if I were to choose the couple that I look up to have a relationship like that, is definitely my parents, simply because, like I said, they are polar opposites and they make it work. They have their good and they have their bad, but they make it work overall. But with my friends, I definitely feel that some of them should
And like when you worked at the station, like with those people, what percentage would you say did you see that seemed to be having, or how many did you get to know a lot of them and their spouses, their significant others that you worked with?
not really. Not really. I did have a coworker that he was originally married, and unfortunately his wife cheated on him, and then eventually he discovered polyamory, and because of that he is actually okay with living like that.
So he stayed with her and they just sleep with other people?
No, like she cheated on him and they divorced.
Ah.
That was
So then he
not
moved
something
on to
that
be in a polyamorous
he
relationship.
had. From what I recall him telling me, he had a bit of a I guess a revelation or a spiritual awakening, and he just discovered that that's something that was more for him. Now granted,
And she's the one that cheated?
yes.
So she's out.
No,
she
that
went
was
down the
after.
road.
That was
She's
No, I
after.
know, but I'm saying that
But she's
she's the
gone
one that
now.
cheated, but
Yes.
he thought of being in a polyamorous relationship.
No, but that's after. 'Cause
yeah, I
at that
know,
time,
but
he
I'm
was
saying
monogamous.
it's kind of weird that he would think that after she was cheating. You know what I mean?
No, but
It's-
that's after. That
I
was
know,
like
I know,
years
I'm-
after the marriage broke.
I know.
broke
I'm
off.
just making a
Chunky, what's your
statement.
percentage?
Uh,
How many have
33.
achieved the what's the word? The elation of the Super Bowl victory in their relationship?
24% to 56%,
What?
and then the other 10% are just fucked.
24% to 56%?
Yeah,
Give
the
me a
other
percentage, or
10%
you're like,
fucked.
they got it going on.
33 to 66.
That's a good. It's honestly, it's the correct percent.
1/3.
It depends.
Probably
I think
less
it
than
truly-
that.
So
Correct.
33%?
I think
Yeah,
It
1/3.
depends on how
1/3?
many people you know.
It depends on
Yeah.
I'd say 1/3.
It depends on the people you know and the
I think
situation of the relationship.
True.
I think it does depend on the people
But
who
50%,
I don't
if
know
you
that
look
many
at
people.
the numbers,
The people
no
who
wonder.
you
You
know?
can see it. You can see them. You can go out and watch strangers interact in a restaurant, and you can tell they're not having a good time together.
Well, I was gonna say,
Especially if they're
everybody
on the
who I
phone.
always look at is always
Oh my god.
happily in love.
76%.
How much?
I think around 20 to 30%. So.
Yeah, that's.
Around
I
1/3.
think 20 to 30.
You only
is-
think a
I sound
third.
like a really terrible friend
Yeah.
when I
I
say
guess
20, but it's just
I'm
like
just-
I know a lot of my
I'm
in a
friends.
different
It's not just
bubble.
your friends; it's just people in general that you know, and that they
Yeah,
don't have to be
even 5
friends.
years,
It
wait till
just
they all get
circle
divorced.
around.
Okay. No, but
I'm
the
talking about
20% I would
everyone.
directly say it's just friends. Everything else is like my parents or other family members.
Yeah, that's all included in a lump sum, is what we're putting.
it's a
everything
lump
in.
sum. It's a lump sum
Yeah.
agreement.
Mine's still at 20%. Most of my friends are not married, or they're getting married, and most of them are single. So it's just like, or they're just not like my friends. Pete's friends are my friends, and then it's like they're mostly those are guys, and they're not married. One is getting married, and it's very few, or they had girlfriends or dating around, and it just doesn't look very promising.
Yeah.
And then on my like for my girlfriends, it's the same. They're just everybody's pretty much dating. Or I have two of my girlfriends are actually married and they have kids, and I mean their relationships are pretty good for the most part. I mean they live in a different state, so I don't get to experience everything their daily life. But it seems like they're having a healthy relationship despite marital things that common that happen. So I'm still sticking with my 20 to 30.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, but now Corey,
I'm
so
gonna say 3%. just because I'm much more critical because I do this stuff for a living. I am a life coach, and so I look at optimization in all areas. What I see across the board in most humans is that, especially like my generation growing up, like exercising or weight training or just basic physical fitness, not talking about being big and bulky and taking steroids or anything like that, but being fit and your clothes fit you well. And it's like what I notice is people tended to, by the time you're early to mid 20s, the exercising has stopped. By the time they're about 30, a lot of them are married, maybe starting to have kids. The weight's starting to come on. And then by the time you get to be 40, 45, your kids are older, bodies are really big and out of shape. It's just most people don't take care of themselves. I mean, the stat is like 74% of all Americans are overweight, or obese. They may have a decent relationship, but the kids are messed up. It's like to me, when you meet people that have been together a long time, they're genuinely in love and they have a good time together and they're playing, they have fun, they communicate well, they get along, they're not shouting and cussing each other out. Their kids are cool, are respectful, they're nice people. Like anybody that's a parent would say, one of the worst things is that you everybody hates your kids or don't like your kids. And so if the parents are cool and they have a good relationship and they're nice people and they're fit and they take care of themselves and they have goals and dreams and things that they want to accomplish and they're trying to accomplish, it's a very small percentage of people do those things that, to me, again, it's like I'm always looking at the best of the best of the best. And I see a very small percentage of people that have been together a long time that are like, they're awesome. I love how they interact and they look really happy. I don't see it a lot. It's a small percentage. I'd say even smaller than 3%.
But back to like what I was saying earlier. So you
Because
were
one more thing,
mhm.
because what happens is, and a lot of guys do this, is they get into a relationship, they get married, they have kids for years. It's like they just totally let themselves go, and then they just balloon up, and then same thing with the wife. She starts to balloon up, and then as the kids get to be teenagers, they're ballooned up, and it's just people just let themselves go, and then the sex stops. They have health problems. They get back problems or whatever. Your body starts breaking down. It's going to have a negative effect on the quality of your life and what you're able to do, especially as you get to be you're in your 40s or 50s. Most people, you look at them, they're in their 40s or 50s, their bodies are wrecked. They look a lot older, a lot more haggard than they really are. I mean, you look at like Liz Hurley. How many women that are in their 50s can you say she looks
so gorgeous.
amazing? She looks amazing for her age.
So gorgeous.
Or like a Selma Hayek. How many of them look that good as they get older?
Jennifer Lopez. Well,
She looks good.
She
Yeah.
takes care of herself.
Yeah. It's hard. Most people don't stick with it, though. But that becomes your standard. And it's not just in that part of your life. It's everything. It's your business. It's your career. It's your peer group.
They're
your
disciplined
finances.
to do those things, and if they lose it, they lose money. They lose their image. So
from you were saying earlier in terms of what for monogamy that shouldn't be the only way to have a healthy lifestyle or a healthy relationship, as we talked about with polyamory or open relationships and all that. And as I mentioned, it can be a huge hit or miss. So what would you consider
as long as you
to
have
be
the same
something
goals. I didn't say that monogamy is not healthy. I'm just saying that it's not the only way.
Yeah.
There's lots of people that have, you got lesbian relationships, you got gay relationships, you got guys that have multiple girlfriends, you have guys that have multiple wives, you have dudes that are just like to be a free agent. They're very selective. And you got other guys that enjoy the thrill of the hunt.
You also have people who are asexual and just want like a little bit of companionship.
Or somebody to, like Jennifer is pretty open about it. She's cool with just getting together with the guys she's seeing maybe once a week.
Once a week.
Having a nice, day or two of getting busy, and then the rest of the week she got other shit going on. She's already raised her kids, you know?
She just needs a little companionship.
So like I said, everybody's different. What is your outcome? Are you trying to have kids together? What is it you're trying to do? That's the important thing.
You always have to make sure that you're on the same page.
Yes. Communication is key. Always.
Because if you're not, somebody, a little bit down the road, somebody might get a little bit dumbfounded on what they find out.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not going to be healthy or easy for either one of you.
Yeah, you got to be brutally honest.
Yeah. Even if it's a hard conversation or an uncomfortable one, you gotta have it. Right, Jade?
Yep, absolutely.
Take it from us.
But the other thing is monogamy. It's like you're with one person because it's hard enough to find one person you like to be with that you feel like you have a soul connection, and that's why I've stayed in touch with the ones that I've had, and I love hearing from them off and on for throughout the decades. But that's me. I I believe we're all spiritual beings having a human experience, and people that you have a good relationship, that love you, that still think highly of you, that still want to stay in touch, whether you're in a relationship exclusively or not. When you're both available at the same time, you can get together and have a blast. And different strokes for different folks, and it depends on the person. Some people want to only be with one person, and then you enjoy the loyalty, the monogamy, waking up with them every day. But in order to enjoy that, you got to genuinely be with people that you want to listen to and who actually want to listen to you as well.